true nature of things is what we call their emptiness. They are devoid of having any nature of their own, which means they are infinitely changing. And you yourself are very much included in that. Okay? So they say sometimes you divide up the pie between persons and phenomena. Persons and phenomena. This is like hardcore. I said, what? I told you I wasn't going to fool around tonight. People are good there. They just been like waiting for me to tell jokes and stuff like that. You know, oh, wait a minute, he's talking about what he's supposed to talk about. Persons and phenomena. Person means like, you know, people, yourself, beings. And phenomena means the world around us. Right? In the Indian text, sometimes they divide up the thing into things that move and things that don't move. The whole world is like that, isn't it? You have like stationary things and animate things. That pretty much covers everything, isn't it? Anybody think of something that is either stationary or animate? So, person and phenomena, and both of them are what we call empty. So the emptiness of person means that there is no hardwired nature to ourselves. And that's good news, isn't it? It's very good news. It means that we could be anything. We have infinite potential because we are not hardwired one way or the other. And right now, for most of us, it seems, we're perceiving ourselves as suffering schmucks. Suffering, ignorant schmucks. And the good news of Buddhism is it doesn't always have to be that. We're not that way by nature. We could be perfected. We have infinite perfectibility because we're not one thing or the other from our own side. We have no essence. We have no self. So that's what no self means. There's nothing that isn't infinitely potential. That's all we have is infinite potential. So how come we see ourselves the way we do? How come we hear that little voice in our head going, "You're unhappy. It's so hot here. So unhappy." Yeah, right? How come we're hearing anything other than everything's perfect? Your life is perfect. You're so happy. Oh, look at everyone around you. They're all so beautiful. I love them. Wouldn't that be a nice voice to hear? What causes who's talking in there anyway? Are you the listener or are you the speaker? You ever thought about that? If you're not the speaker, who else talking? and if you're the speaker, who's listening? We're empty. That means that empty means that we're just projecting on a blank screen some kind of voice in there. See? And the voice that we hear is a product of what we call our karma. The kind of karma that we have, how we've treated others in the past, comes back at us in part as that voice, the kind of voice we hear in our heads. And then, most of us have mixed karma on this regard, right? Sometimes we hear a nice way, everything's fine, everything's pretty good. And then sometimes we hear, oh, he's so unhappy, this is so bad, oh, that guy's so mean to you, blah, blah, blah. Right? That's mixed karma. Every time you hear, yeah, everything's so fine, everything's so beautiful. It's beautiful snowy weather out there. Beautiful, I love that sun. Right? Every time you hear a voice like that, everything's fine voice, that's coming from good karma. That's the flowering of good karma. That's the projection of hearing nice things inside your head that's forced upon you by how you've treated others in the past. And conversely, if you're hearing like, how unhappy I am, and oh, I'm so depressed, and this and that, that's a different kind of projection. That's a different kind of putting together the sounds in your head. See, they're just sounds. They're just sounds. And we put them together in different ways, depending on our karma. That's what it means to say the self is empty. And so the goal of Buddhism, the goal of any religion actually, the goal of all religions, is to create the causes that would force you to hear nothing but happiness inside your head. You see? And because we're not one thing or the other, we could do that, see? Because we're infinitely perfectible. The world is like that too. There's no essences to things out there either. There's no hardwiredness to the world around us. The world itself is a blank canvas. It's a blank canvas. So who's painting in the colors? See? And it's us. It's each and every one of us. We perceive the world we perceive because of how we've treated others too. And part of what we're doing in this meditation, in this topic, is to prove that to ourselves. Is to prove that to ourselves. That things are empty of existing the way they seem to. So how do they seem to exist? They seem to exist as they are out there, apart from me. You know, I always think of that image of like a Hollywood set. You know, it's like the world is a Hollywood set that some set guy, some set producer and director has put up in front. So when I come to Rockport, Massachusetts, I get off the plane in Boston. I get in the car, get out of the car, and it's like the set designers have created a whole place for me here. And I just walk through something that already exists there, right? It's not like that, actually. For me, I create Rockport. As when I get here, for me, Rockport exists only until I get here. I hear about it exists for others, but well, whatever. That exists for me as hearsay. There's hearsay that Rockport exists until I get here. And then it exists for me. So this is like, we were talking about this in the afternoon class, very important. Like, this is not that hard to get, actually. This is kind of the easiest sort of level, well, relatively easy. The whole world at minimum, is an interpretation. Your world is your interpretation of the world. Can we agree on that? That everything is interpreted. Everything is filtered through subjectivity, right? We're not cameras. We're not video cams. We're subjective human beings with prejudices, with ideas, with propensities, with opinions. You know, it's not like we're seeing the world objectively. Can we agree that we're not seeing the world objectively? See, modern science tells us this. The university is teaching this nowadays. If you haven't caught up with your own, official culture or your official knowledge, well, here's your opportunity tonight. The opportunity tonight to catch up with the rest of us. Things are subjective. They're not objective. Nobody believes in objectivity much anymore. See, only the sort of cultural retards who haven't caught up yet believe in objectivity. How could there be objectivity when we are filtering everything through our subjectivity? See? Who's got objectivity? Well, which perspective, which subjective perspective is the objective one? Right? So minimally, can we agree? Minimally, we are interpreting our reality. Okay? It's filtered. So here's another way of thinking about the spiritual quest, okay? The spiritual quest is to learn how to change the filter. How to change the filter. So instead of filtering a reality that causes you like suffering and unhappiness and so forth, you have a different filter where you're interpreting the world around you as a pleasant place, as happy, as pleasant, right? Because the world is unknown to you apart from your filter. It's unknowable, right? The only way we can know things is through our own subjective, sort of lens, right? Or who else is going, it's yes. Nobody's nodding yet, so I'm going to keep talking about it.